What's your name? Real name?
Reginald Jones. Reginald Lamar Jones, man.
And
AKA Reggie Rock.
Reggie Rock.
Yeah, Rock Bottom, Mr. Rock Bottom.
Mr. Rock Bottom. What's the Rock Bottom? Tell me about that.
Motivation starts here, nowhere to go but up.
Okay.
I mean, seeing like you see it tattooed on my arm. Everything I do represents anything from encouragement and letting them know that the bottom is not the end, but your launching pad to your next. You know what I mean? But most importantly, you recognize God to be real at rock bottom. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. You're an actor, correct? Amongst other things.
I am now.
You are now. You're currently starring in a movie. What's the name of the movie?
Healed.
Healed. And what's the role that you play and the character you play?
I'm Vince. He's somebody that I know too well, and he's someone who's egotistical, narcissistic, manipulative, damaged, and also confused, man. He's just a man who wants control whenever he has a situation where he thinks that he can control. You know what I mean? Like you know how most of us know we're only good in certain places, so we make sure we magnify, like make sure we tough in them situations, right? But when you get in other situations where people know who you are, you be like, you know what I mean? No, but certain people are on. You're only where you are in your demographic. You know what I mean? You can't pretend to be a millionaire and you only got $200 in front of a room full of millionaires. Right. So that shit kind of logically, you just handle yourself accordingly. Right. So the thing about Vince is that he wants control. He loves control. He's angry. Like I say, he's narcissistic. And there's some things about him that causes him to lash out to, the significant other in front of him.
You said you know Vince. You know Vince all too well. Is that from a personal standpoint, as far as you, or is that personalities that you've seen in your community?
No, both. Okay.
So the name of the movie is Healed, and you play one of the characters that is obviously in need of healing. But in the real world, Reginald Jones, are you healing or been healed of something major that has changed your life or that has been a detriment to your life?
Both.
Talk about it.
Both. Because I understand the process of healing and being healed. And my pastor talked about this all too often, where being healed means that there's a scar, right? Meaning that you can see that there's something that happened there or whatever. You know what I mean? And if we don't let a wound, like most time we keep opening wounds, you keep getting infected. You know what I mean? And you never deal with the actual situation or whatever it is that you're going through. So for me, growing up in Spartanburg and seeing my mom go through those situations, being beat and my family being taken away from me as a teen. And I think the ultimate thing for me was just seeing my mom not being able to do what she wanted to do for us, me, my brother, and my sister. And the older that I am, I see that I still healing, and there's some certain things that I'm healed from. You know what I mean? Certain people I'm healed from. Certain situations I'm healed from. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of things that happens to me allow me. I think God allowed me to see that it triggers what I need to be still healing. You know what I mean? Where I need to still be healing. And
Give me, what are you healing from right now?
I don't trust people.
What has
I don't trust nobody though. I don't care what. I didn't ask to be a rapper, an actor, no nothing. I didn't strive to be in the career that I'm like. You feel me? I didn't ask to be in it, but I know I could do it. But when I get in there, they are the most grimiest, most dirtiest, most. And then I don't want to be reminded of what I ain't. The stuff in my own family, like I'm having to deal with these from people that I don't know. You know what I mean? So I'll be okay a lot of times not doing nothing though. So I'm okay. I'll be okay with just a regular life for me. You feel me? Now if I said that I had aspirations and dreams to be Stellar nominated, all these other things, and how the rock bottom goes and all of that stuff, then I would, I would be have so many disappointments and you know what I mean? But that's why I believe in God. My grandma could make me believe in God. Nobody could make me believe in God. I don't trust people. I don't like agendas. You know what I mean? I just don't. I'd rather not deal with it and just go on about my life and let everybody else go do your thing. Go find somebody else that you can manipulate and find who you want, to use that like that. But, that's when I know I'm not fully healed from a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to boom and back up for a second. You know what I'm saying? But people always push you, go, 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 right? Not knowing that you might fall apart. And you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro.
No, you touching on it. But let's be clear. Well, help me clear, make this clear for the people that are watching. Did the trust issue start after you were pushed into this, or brought into it, or did it start before?
Nah, it was
When did
before that.
when did it start?
Before that. Before that. Um, Trusting people was before that. So I just see people as just so disingenuine about anything. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to get in the position. Was me and my mom. Feel me? Me and my mama. Nothing has mattered. And I'm still there with my mama, you feel me? Can't nobody tell me nothing different. And ain't nobody gave me nothing else to change that. And I don't expect nobody to give me nothing else to change that. It was just that I had to recognize some things about, my past and what my mom was and what my mom is now. And it shaped so much how I am, why I am. Like me. Even the things about me that I hate. You know what I mean? Yeah, give me a minute.
Take as much as you want. Make sure you in focus. There you go. Talk to us. You back? You all right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the trust. We kind of we went over it,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't get to where it started. When was the first time you realized you couldn't trust anyone?
Nah, it wasn't necessarily me not being able to trust anyone. It was just that no one would meet. I would put so much expectations on people. You know what I mean? As a kid, I'm a kid putting expectations on people, and they don't meet the expectations, and then I put them in that box right there. Boom. You know what I'm saying? I put them right there, and I leave them right there. And then I grew up putting everybody in certain boxes. You know what I mean? That's how I operate.
Okay.
Be like, they don't care about me. They kind of do, sort of do. Ooh, they love me. But the ones that really love me, I'd be like, you know what I mean? I put them right here because they delicate. You know what I mean?
That's
Um,
interesting.
so just being with my mom all the time, and just seeing how she was, how she kind of shaped me. You know what I mean? It shaped me. It shaped me in a lot because I had to start working a full-time job at the age of 13. You know what I mean? So I never get what I wanted. So the trust thing for me, man, I ain't trust nobody but my mama. And then my mama was probably always doing, did some things wrong here. And I ain't saying she was always right, but that was my go-to. But I'm seeing everybody else that ain't there for me. You know what I'm saying? It be hard for me to trust people. It's hard. I'd rather, man, no lie, bro. I would rather disappoint someone than to follow through for me.
Explain. I don't understand.
Like, let's go ahead and end it right here, rather than proceed all the way to what you expected of me. You know what I mean? That's just what I got. But my mom helped me. My dad too, though. I don't throw my dad. Help me.
When was your trust first violated?
Let's skip it. We skip that one. Let's skip that, bro. Let's go. Something else. Mm-hmm.
What have you been healed from? We know trust is healing, but you said you've been healed from some things.
Yeah, yeah. Understanding where I stand with people. You know what I mean? You can hold yourself captive. You know what I mean? To other people's dreams, other people's thoughts, other people's ideals, other people's. You could be trapped right there. You know what I mean? And not only I've been healed from my own demons, where like the thought of who I am. You know what I mean? I had to figure out who I am, though, for real. You know what I mean? Um, man, there was some rebuilding I had to do. No, that not even me having to do, but the people that I truly believe that God put in my life were people that went around me that came from my community, but people outside of what I was used to, hood stuff.
You good?
Okay, but hood stuff. um, my thought process, my mentality. But I know it was God that brought certain people in my life. They come from different places, white, black, that kind of instill different things in me that make Reggie Rock who he is right now. You feel me? That doesn't change the emotions that I deeply still have inside of me. I got that. That's me, man. I thank God for my emotions. You feel me? I'm glad about that. Cause people don't cry about nothing they do or anything that somebody did to them. You know what I mean? Ultimately, most thing I cry about now, most of the time, it's got something to do with my mom, my family, or anything that I've done to someone because I want to be so sorry. You know how you want to be so sorry that you want to just let them know that you didn't never mean no harm. And there ain't no young guy like that no more. You know what I mean? And there's things that, and I just wish. But overall, I understood that and grasped. I had to grasp that God was good to the extent where it wasn't perfect, but I needed what another human being couldn't give me.
Which was?
unconditional, unmerited. But you know what man's problem is? We want to be God. So we think we could dictate and judge people how we want to do it. And we do it. We make the rules. And then, like I said early in this interview, like, man, I went to church with my grandmother every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, third Bible study. Man, then it was in there so long. Then the bus came. That raggedy bus, too. But it came and got us. But she made sure we was there. Even if, and at this time, it wasn't no phones. So it just passed us like a little peppermint or something, you know what I mean? Or we'll fall asleep. But they stay with me. Because you...
Don't move the chair,
Nah, I'm good. Nah, I had to...
Alright, hold on, let me refocus you.
Yeah.
Alright, there you go.
You good.
Perfect. Alright.
You'll get in places where you entertain so much, you'll forget who you are, man. What I love and hate about acting is that I gotta tap in to a reality or something for me. You know what I mean? But it allows to bring recognition to someone who's struggling with something, you know. And like like I said, like what my clothing is rock bottom. Motivation starts here, nowhere to go but up. So you always be in a position to motivate somebody from a standpoint of where they see they can no longer get up from. That's powerful. Not just the cliche. Like, who can help me right here? God. But God is not just this thing, what we think he is. But God is personal too. He's been personal for me. And regardless of anything, regardless of if I'm in this film, sell any clothes, seen what he do for me. That's a fact on my life. I don't beg nobody about nothing. I don't beg nobody to do nothing. I don't ask you don't gotta do nothing. Living, dog. Gave my life to the devil a lot of time. Well, God done kept me. You feel me? Well, God done kept me. When I done gave myself away, he kept me, man. Nobody can't tell me nothing about no God, man. Because plenty of times I ain't want to. Here, I make it hell for my wife. I make it hell for my daughter. I make it hell for my mama, my auntie. And they be like, you doing so much. You doing good. You. God. I believe in God because of me. And what his words say. That's why I believe in him. And what his words say. And I hold strongly to it. I hold strongly to it. And I will. It ain't enough to just have a Bible on your counter. Read it. Keep yourself encouraged with that, because guess what? People out here all day give you their own thoughts of how life should be and all these other things. And guess what? It's going to lead you right to back where they at. Leaning on God. Leaning on God. But everybody want to say he don't exist, man. He say, he said, come to me, those who are weary, heavy laden. Those who got burdens. Place them upon me. My burden is. And the thing about what we do, man, we'll go to social media so fast. I listen to somebody that got so many problems in their life and share they post 300 times, man. God ain't never enough. For me, he is. Take me how I am, man. Yep. So the change gonna come, not in what people think or the success, but what God tend to do in my life. It says that whatever I send out to do, it shall not return unto me void. The word that I set out. So whatever God say he gonna do, he gonna do. In your life, whatever, in Tanya's life, her family's life, in this documentary, everything, man. Whatever God say he gonna do in your life, you need to take heed of that. But most of us, we don't know nothing that God say, man. We'll go tap into something and just say some stuff. We don't know contextually what it say or what they mean, and we'll just repeat it, right? Repeat stuff. Just repeat it. Repeat it for what? Even when you repeat stuff, you don't even believe it. He gonna do it. He is gonna do it. Who? He who? Who? I had to learn. Because the thing about me being healed, gonna come from God. My healing gonna come from God. My healing gonna come from God. And I want it and I need it to come from God. The reason that it needs to come from God is because whenever God does something, it's absolute and it's complete and it makes sense when it comes from God. But guess what? We don't have time for God. But we got time for everybody else that feed us everything else. And you be so confused. But don't take no time for God, because guess what God is? Patient and quiet. He don't give you what you think you want, just when you think you supposed to want it at that time, just like that. And then when it come fast and we got a lot, we be like, ooh, look at God. No, the devil give you stuff too, baby. Mm-hmm.
What has the devil given you?
Oh man, success. He'll dish it. It's right now. He'll lay it out because he knows what you like.
What has he given you that you like?
He don't give me anything that I don't like. He gives me what my flesh desires and what I give into. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that ain't just me. Give in to the things that we desire. And the things that we desire that has nothing to do with God. See, the reason we hate God, though, because it seemed tough. It seemed tough. And I ain't just talking about you, nobody else in here, but me too. But everything God that's laid out for us, it seems tough. That's why Christ is there, though. What was wrong with us? We still want how we want it, how we want to say, how it's supposed to be, and we totally rebellious against God. And then when stuff don't go right, guess what we be saying? Ooh, that's the devil. That the devil there. But guess what though? The devil had a conversation with God. Had a conversation with him. Had a conversation. You mean tell me the one that want to kill me, all this other stuff, still kill and destroy, had a conversation with the person that's supposed to be saving my soul, the restoration of my soul, all this. But we don't know nothing. Most of the people don't. The reason they think they shouldn't go to church. You know why I go to church? God said, because you're your brother. You know why we should do a lot of things we do? Because God said. And I'm going to end it like this, bro. And I'm gone. I promise. And I promise. I promise. Jesus said this. How can you say you love me and you don't obey me? I was in my bed thinking about all the things I proclaim about Jesus. But he said that one thing, how you say you love me, you don't even do what I say. So it really kind of don't even matter what I do here, man. I tell you what though, Tanya, husband, they've created something special. Got Dimitri back here, man. He is amazing. This guy's remarkable, man. And the reason she had to write is because there's some things tapped in to where it's real to an extent, you know. But you think about the people that's all around the world, you know. Like we can't even think about having a God complex, you know what I mean? Because what will this film do? Like the role that I'm playing, I'm an abusive baby daddy, and that was in my life. I saw that. You know what I mean? I saw that, and me and him have a conversation. But before that, I wanted to kill him. We met at the club. I met him, dapped each other up at the club.
The father?
The one that beat my mama. My father never beat my mother. My mother was never married to my father. My mother had me, man. 15, you know what I mean? This documentary here never captured nothing. But you continue to work through. You continue to press. Because the thing about God that I love is that He never promised nothing will be perfect and right. I don't get that from Him. But that He will always be right there in the midst of that pressing. Not that it's, I got a lot of money, but that I'm right where He want me to be. Because, man, I ain't asked for none of what I'm doing. But I'm right where He want me to be.
What's your name?
My name is Sierra Cohen.
What do you do?
I am an actress. I am playing the role of Angela in the movie Healed.
Are you healed or healing?
I am in the journey of healing.
From what?
Just feeling not good enough. Lack of self-love, self-worth, anxiety, depression, domestic violence.
When was it instilled in you that you were not good enough? How old were you?
I can't even remember. My mother, she had me at a very young age, at the age of 17. My father at the time was 21 years old. So even from birth, I was rejected. My grandmother wanted my mother to abort me. So even then, I was born into rejection, a world of rejection, and people pushing me out and pushing me away, and me always trying to fit into a mold to be accepted by people.
What does not being good enough feel like?
It cuts deep. It's like you're always chasing something. It hurts to never be able to be your true self. And, growing up, I became a shapeshifter to where, like, if I wanted to be in this group, I did the things or, acted like and made myself look like this group. And then I would shift and then do this thing and, act and be like this group of people. And, at the end, it was just, like, really hurtful because I feel like if I showed people who I really was, no one would accept me, no one would love me, and no one would care for me.
Domestic violence. How old were you when you experienced your first event?
21.
21. Tell me about it.
It was my first incident with my daughter's father, my oldest daughter's father. I was living in my own very first apartment, and he would come visit, pop up out of the blue, which was a red flag. And he found out that I was also like interested or talking to another person at the time. And that led into a whole altercation. And all I can remember is just like a big fight and altercation happened. And I'm thinking like, well, I mean, it's a fight, but not thinking like, hey, this is abuse. And so even with me defending myself in that moment, like, I didn't realize until the next day of like how wrong it was. And seeing my mom deal with it, and my grandmother and my aunts, I just knew, I'm like, why am I letting this cycle continue? And then right after, not even like 2 weeks after that, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And I'm like, I have to stop this because I cannot let my daughter continue to live the cycle. So that became my last incident. I started to just distance myself from him. And then even then, you know, I was told, well, you know, you should get rid of her, you should kill her, you know, like have the abortion. And I'm like, I can't do that. Because what if my mother had have done that to me? I would not be where I am today. Um, but even after that, you know, dealing with like mom issues and dad issues and still trying to fit in the mold of what my mom wanted me to be and you know, wondering why my daddy didn't want me. And so like I could never just be Sierra.
Has your daughter experiencing domestic violence?
Um, it was an incident to where she was 3. I was trying to, you know, co-parent and but she didn't experience it to the full extent. You know, it was, you know, I kind of walked away from the situation, but still, even at the age of 12, she's traumatized by something that she saw when she was 3.
I realized something doing these interviews that we're just local people, and we might not be able to go into our true stories of healing because we may want to protect people, and that's cool. I don't advise it because your protection of those that have hurt you or wronged you is almost like more abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It
still holds power.
Yeah, your voice is shut down because of it. But I respect it if you do. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever experienced your mother being abused? What was the worst?
So my younger sister, her dad was abusive. I remember growing up, I was really young, probably like 2 or 3 years old, and I remember her being slapped over into a bathtub. And what can you say as a 3-year-old? I mean, you can cry, but like you really don't understand the fullness of what's happening, and you don't really understand that this is not the norm. And so many people grow up seeing that every day, and they think it's normal, but it's not. It's abuse. So she ended up getting out of that relationship because, you know, he put a gun to her head. And I remember my mom's like talking about it, and I'm like, man, I'm never gonna be that woman. I'm never gonna let my kids go through that. And even in that incident, I put a judgment out into the atmosphere against my mom. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for me to like see that cycle live out in my life, and I'm like, but I said I wasn't gonna be that. And you know, everything that I've done in my life was try to prevent that, but then I was just running into the same situations, running into toxic relationships that I knew were not good for me, going from person to person, you know, guy to guy to try to fit into this thing and try to fit into this mold. But then I'm just like tearing myself down and eating at myself because I'm not allowing myself to be who God created me to be in the first place. So.
You said that the feeling of not being worthy, not being good enough, started when you were young. You said that, you know, you were supposed to be aborted. Somebody had advised the parents to abort you. When did you hear that story? How old were you when you heard that story?
I was probably like, if I can remember, 10 or 11 years old hearing that story. And then I even like started to feel some type of way about my grandmother. Like how can she tell me, you know, that how to, you know, how can she talk to you about what, you know, because then at that time my grandmother was dealing with drug abuse. My grandfather was dealing with drug abuse and also, you know, a drug dealer at the same time. So I'm like, well, how can she tell you how to, you know, and even then I'm making judgments against her. Like, how can she tell you how to live your life? And, you know, you didn't do drugs and you weren't in the streets and, you know, but it was hurtful to hear like another incident of being rejected. Like somebody else did not want me. So it was really deep.
When was the next incident of not feeling worthy? Good enough.
Like with my mom, like I never knew I had mommy issues until I was an adult. In my early 30s. But I knew that she wanted better for us. And like she always pushed us to reach for our goals and dreams. But if it wasn't going to give us a good life, she didn't want us to go that path. So she was a pusher. And it's not that she was having bad intentions, but she was doing the best that she could with what she knew and what she had. And so even then I'm like, well, why am I never good enough for you? I'm doing this right. I'm doing this right. I'm doing what you want me to do, but why is it not good enough? And all along it was, but I didn't feel it because of my internal thoughts and feelings about myself. So like, me wanting to live my life and go do certain things a certain way. My mom's like, no, I want you to go this way. It's like, well, I can't be myself. So I felt even that like she was rejecting me and myself. So yeah.
Have you, to be honest, it sounds like you're still protecting people, but have you found yourself?
Not completely, but I am finding myself. I think that I'm learning to be free and find a voice, because growing up, my voice was silenced.
When was your voice first silenced?
Man, probably just growing up in a home with like a strong black mom who was a single mom. Like, you don't get much say so in how you want to live your life. So again, that's me thinking, okay, that's the norm. But also, just talking to other people, and then dealing with the domestic violence situation, it was also a mental abuse, mental neglect. So yeah, I think it was just, all my life, I never knew what it was like to actually have a voice for myself.
Do you love yourself?
I'm learning.
How are you learning? What is it? How do you know that you're learning to love yourself?
Because I can do things without having to consult others. I can make a decision and be content with it and be happy. Without worrying about feeling judged, or what is somebody going to say, or how is somebody going to act or treat me if I do this. And I think, me sharing my story with others is actually helping me find that. Even through acting, I'm learning like to let go of myself and not second guess. Because even growing up and even as an adult, sometimes I have a hard time making a decision for myself, because of the fact of like I'm waiting on to see what somebody else is going to say or how they're going to react to something. So I think me finding my voice is, through, things like that I love to do and just being myself, making choices for myself. So yeah.
Physically, mentally, spiritually, how close are you to being the person you want to be?
Mentally, I'm going to say about 50%. Physically, I would say maybe about the same. But then spiritually, I think I'm like probably like 80%, because, I've had a lot of like inner self work that I'm doing. So like I'm constantly, not checking myself in a bad way, but then like reflecting. And not necessarily like pointing the finger and setting expectations on people. Because I've learned that, with me being a giver, I can't expect other people to treat me the way that I would treat them, because I can't control other people's actions. So I think that's where I am spiritually, like, and that's helping me to love myself, because that's giving me the freedom to say, hey, people gonna think what they gonna think. People gonna do what they gonna do. People gonna talk what they gonna talk. But you have control over you, and you have power over you. And whenever you're thinking about what other people think of you, you're giving them your power. And so that's one powerful thing that I've learned through this whole process is like, stop giving your power away. Stop giving your voice away. Be who you are and be proud of it, no matter what people may say, think, feel, or whatever. But, that's just where I've come.
You have children.
2 daughters, yes.
Are they allowed to speak their mind?
Yes, to a certain extent, in a respectful way, but yes, I do allow them to voice what their feelings are.
A lot freer than you were?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not continuing the cycle. What was one of the most painful things you've done not loving you or not feeling worthy? The lowest point in your life you've ever been because you felt like you were not worthy.
Having an affair. That was probably one of the lowest moments of my life, because within myself, even when with my marriage, it's like, well, he don't love me. He don't show me love the way that I feel like he should show it. And again, that's all just me. And so I was just out thinking like, okay, so I deserve better. I need better. I want more than this. And it was into that, even though there were some things that were done wrong on both ends, like that's not the way that I should have gone about, making it right, because two wrongs don't make it right. So instead of like loving me and, loving me first, I went out to go find love from somewhere else. And it wasn't true love. It wasn't true love.
I've heard you express it was me about 5 different times in this conversation, as if you have taken the weight of everybody's actions, internalized it, and found a way to make it your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand you're healing. Do you think that that's something you should pay attention to? Or is it okay for you to accept all this responsibility of what everybody else had going on so that you can feel, and honestly, it sounds like you feel less worthy to stand above it and say, no, it was not me. You did this and this is what happened. You were wrong in this. I've heard that a few times tonight where everybody is accepting this responsibility for pain that was heaped up on them and for reacting because the pain that was heaped up on you.
Yeah.
When do you break free of that? When do you stop accepting their actions as your responsibility?
It's hard. Because everybody always tells us, look at the man in the mirror. Check yourself before you check everybody else. But when you grow up and like people are always telling you what you need to do and what you need to be, that's all you look at is yourself. And you criticize yourself. Not even realizing like how much it tears you down. Like, and one thing that I've learned is like, be careful how you talk to yourself. Be careful how you treat yourself. Even if it's the slightest thing, like, and I still have to catch like, just like you caught me now, like I still have to catch myself like and say, hey, don't talk to yourself that way because you're better than that. So it's really hard to say like how or where or when, that cycle breaks. I think that's just a part of the journey, like understanding that it's not always you or it's not always us, because it wasn't my fault that my father wasn't there. It wasn't my fault that my daughter's father decided to put his hands on me. Just we just always have to feel like we have to check ourselves and look in the mirror and say, okay, what is wrong with you? When there's really nothing wrong. God created me in his image. So what would be wrong with that?
How do you walk into tomorrow and how do you walk into tomorrow and heal? for tomorrow, what thoughts, what actions do you take to continue your process of healing?
I would say be careful about who you let in your space and don't just accept everybody. And understand that even the people that you let in your circle and in your life, not everybody is there to benefit you. And, you know, to continue to build other people up and then continue to build yourself up in the process. And don't worry about what others may say and what others may think, because you can't control that. Just continue to just be and love yourself. And then, you know, that light that you put on display, you know, it will just continue to shine on everybody else. And I just want to continue to be an inspiration to like other women, other young girls who may have dealt with the same thing or who are in the same situation that I was in and that I'm currently like healing from, that there is a light and there is, you know, a world of like possibilities at the end of the tunnel. So don't silence yourself. Don't allow others to silence you. You know, speak your voice and use your voice to lift other people up and not like tear other people down. Don't tear yourself down.
What's your name?
My name is Sierra Cohen.
And what do you do?
I am an actress playing the role of Angela in the movie Healed.
Thank you.